Skillshare is for designers, photographers, marketers, artists, and lifelong learners. Skillshare is for foodies, commuters, risk takers, the young, and the young at heart. It's for strategists, free spirits, purists, the bold, the curious, the characters, the makers, and the breakers. Skillshare is for everyone, an online learning community with thousands of classes to advance your career, improve the world, and pursue the work you love. What will you learn next? It all starts on Skillshare.
Hi, it's good to see you again. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about the parts of speech. The parts of speech are the categories into which we put words. Knowing them helps us talk about language and grammar. So, for instance, if someone were to say to you, the problem with your sentence is the noun doesn't agree with the verb, or even more technically, the subject does not agree with the predicate, you have to know what these things are. You have to know what a noun and a verb, or a subject and a predicate, and in this case, what is meant by agree. What does that mean? So for some of you, this will be a review. Some of you may feel that you already know this material, so you don't need to go through this, in which case, please feel free to go on to the next lecture. You might want to take the knowledge quiz, the Test Your Knowledge quiz, that's attached to this lesson. But for the rest of us, let's get started. Hi, we have 8 parts of speech, and these might be further divided into 4 different categories. In the first, the core category, as I would call it, we have the nouns and the verbs and the pronouns. The nouns are the things of this world, the verbs would be the things that they do, the actions that they do, and the pronouns would take the place of nouns. So be he, she, it. Words like this. Now, as we go forward, I'm going to be explaining these in greater detail, but I just want to get us a basic understanding, give us a kind of an overview right now. Then you might have the modifiers. These change or alter, somewhat adjust our conceptions of the nouns and the verbs. So, for instance, it's not just a dog, it's a big brown dog. Okay, he ran, or he ran quickly. The baby slept soundly, you see. So these would be adjectives and adverbs, changing the noun or the verb. Then you have what you might call the joiners. These are the conjunctions such as and or but, although, words like this, and prepositions, which also join parts of speech to one another, either parts of a sentence or words. So on the table, or in the baseball diamond, things like this, okay? And then finally you have the emotives. These are the interjections. Wow, that was great. The wow being the interjection, okay? Anyway, so I'm going to explain these in more detail as we go forward, but I hope this quick overview gave us something to base our further lesson on. Thank you. You've probably heard the definition before of a noun as being a person, place, or thing. That is, nouns are the names for all the things that are in the world and all the things that are even out of the world. In that, nouns are names for things that are tangible. You can put your hand on them. A typewriter, if you know what a typewriter is, if such thing exists anymore. But a computer, a car, a telephone, or even right here, a bear, albeit a dancing bear. Nouns also are names for things that are imaginary. Like right here we have the fairy. Could be Santa Claus. Hope I didn't burst anybody's bubble there. But also things that are idealistic. We have concepts of, but nevertheless you can't put your hand on, such things as love, or justice, or friendship, or anger, or my feelings are hurt. Well, the feelings can't be touched, but we consider them real nevertheless, and the description of that is a noun. Nouns divided into 2 categories: common nouns and proper nouns. So as you peruse the list over here, you'll see that in the one case we have boy, who could be any boy, or we have Billy. Again, we have a woman, it could be any woman, or the specific Anita Williams. And again, likewise, city, any city, or Chicago, or a river, or the Mississippi, a very specific river, a company, Ford Motors, or a poet, Robert Frost. Now, one of the things that you notice here, look down the column of proper nouns. One property of proper nouns in English is that they are, for the most part, capitalized, and there are some exceptions. The company eBay, for instance, has idiosyncratic spelling, has adopted idiosyncratic spelling for itself of lowercase, all lowercase, no capitals. And likewise, the late American poet E.E. Cummings chose, for the most part, not to capitalize the letters of his name that would normally be capitalized. But for the most part, the rule holds that proper nouns are capitalized. Verbs describe actions or states of beings. Let's talk about the action part of the definition first. You might think of this as being action movie type actions, running and jumping and hiding and fighting, these sorts of things, very, very dramatic type actions, but they can also be quiet actions. When you sleep, that's an action. If you just sit there and think, that's an action. So if somebody says you're not doing anything, you're just sitting there, you go, no, I am doing something. I'm thinking. That's an action. Okay, so these are some of the actions that verbs describe. A linking verb connects the noun or pronoun with the word that describes or explains it. And this word that describes or explains it could either be another noun or it could be an adjective, which we'll get to very shortly. But anyway, let me explain. So if I said he is sick, well, that sick is describing he, and the is right there, which is the form of to be that we use for the third person singular, is linking he with sick. In the same way, if I said she is a doctor, the is linking she with doctor. Okay, so I could say Maggie is a doctor. Okay, so and the is would be linking, Maggie with doctor. There are other forms of the linking verb that we should just take note of, and these are words that you could substitute the verb to be in its various forms. I am, you are, he, she, or it is, we are, you are, they are. And you could use words like, not exclusively, that is to say, not all inclusively, but you could use words like seems. He seems angry. Now, if you could say he is angry, then that's being used as a linking verb. He has grown tall. If you could say he is tall, well, again, you're using it as a linking verb. Now, you have to be careful with some of these words, because to grow could also be an action. He has grown some great tomatoes. Okay, so there you're using the word grow as an action verb because he is doing something. He's just not being something, such as tall in our example. Likewise, you could say, this smells rotten. In other words, this is rotten. But if you say, I smell a rat, well, that's a different usage of the word. You see, then you're performing an action. You're smelling something. So now we come to pronouns. Like with many of the other parts of speech, you would recognize them, though you might not know exactly what they're called if you did encounter them in speech or in writing. But very simply, what a pronoun does is it takes the place of a noun. So instead of saying Bob is late, we would say he is late, possibly. Instead of saying Tom, Dick, and Harry went on a vacation, we might say they went on a vacation. So you see, the pronoun takes the place of the nouns, and in some ways might save us repetition. We wouldn't have to say Bob, Bob, Bob all the time. And also saves us from lengthy exposition, such as you don't have to repeat every the name of everybody in the group. You can just say they or them. So pronouns are these little words such as I, me, you, yours, he, she, or it, him, her, words like that. They're also what's called the indefinite pronouns, someone, anyone, anybody, and also what we call the interrogative or the relative pronouns, who, which, whose, words like this. Okay, so anyway, we're going to learn more about pronouns as we go forward. We have a whole section devoted just to pronouns. What fun. Okay, but in the meantime, just remember, pronouns are those little words that take the place of the noun. The adjective is a word that modifies or describes a noun. So we remember a noun is a person, place, or thing, right? So, and so in modifying or describing, we mean that it changes the noun or adds some specificity to it. So, for instance, did you lose your address book? Not just any book, but the address book. Is that a wool sweater? You know, I don't want any of the synthetic material. I just like wool. You're a big boy, you know, which oddly enough we only say to boys who are not big boys. Okay, anyway, just give me 5 minutes. So it also tells us, you know, a count, how many. So what kind, how many, various kinds of qualities. And one more thing to remember is that adjectives can be stacked. So we see down below here the description, the big brown fierce dog. You see, we can have a number of adjectives all going to further specify what kind of dog it is. Okay, so that's the adjective. It modifies or describes a noun. The adverb changes or modifies the verb. So I could say I run, but I'd be giving more information if I said I run often, which actually I don't, so I'm lying. But anyway, but you get the idea. Anyway, I could say the baby slept or the baby slept soundly. So I'm describing how it was that the baby slept. Yesterday we went to the beach. Adverbs also tell us when, or I put the mousetrap there. See, it also tells us where with words like there. Okay, so a mnemonic device, mnemonic comes from a Greek word that means memory. Mnemonic device to help you differentiate if you have problems between an adjective and an adverb is that the adverb adds to the verb. Little trick there, adds to the verb. So it changes or modifies or adds to the verb. Okay, it does some other things too, but its main function is to do just that. And again, we have a whole section on adverbs, and we'll be talking about those at greater length. But this is just to give you a quick glimpse at what an adverb does. As I said in the introduction, the preposition is one of the joining words. It connects a noun with other parts of the sentence. And so you notice very cleverly I highlighted in red all the prepositions on this page. So with other parts of the sentence and the sample sentence down below. A postcard arrived for them from Bobby telling about his trip to Canada. So that's what a preposition does, very simply. And on the next slide, I'll introduce you to a mnemonic device that will help you remember the preposition. So this is it right here, the preposition box. This is the mnemonic device that should help you remember what a preposition is. So it's a little word that helps you orient yourself to, or in relationship to, the box. So you're in the box, you're on the box, you're under the box, you're to the side of the box, you're going through the box. All these words are prepositions. And if you just remember what the preposition box does, it helps keep your prepositions nice and safe and snugly and for your use. So you can pull them out anytime that you need them in your speaking or writing. The conjunction is a word that joins words or groups of words. So these are words such as and, but, or, because, while, if, words like these that join. So I could say the boy hit the ball and he ran to first base. So the conjunction and would be joining the two independent clauses. If Sandusky had made the final touchdown, we would have won the game. So the if is a conjunction in that case. And I could go on and on and on, but we have a whole chapter, I promise you, on the conjunction and how it's used. But perhaps at this time, we've been at this for quite some time, the most appropriate thing for us to do is go to the next slide, where we have a short video that will explain this idea marvelously.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
Hooking up words and phrases and clauses.
Conjunction, junction, how's that function?
I got 3 favorite cars that get most of my job done.
Conjunction, junction, what's their function?
I got and, but, and or, they'll get you pretty far. And, that's an additive, like this and that. But, that's sort of the opposite. Not this, but that. And then there's or, O-R. When you have a choice like this or that. And, but, and or get you pretty far.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
Hooking up 2 boxcars and making them run right. Milk and honey, bread and butter, peas and rice.
Hey, that's nice.
Dirty but happy, digging and scratching, losing your shoe and a button or 2. He's poor but honest, sad but true. Boo-hoo!
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
Hooking up 2 cars to 1 when you say something like this. Choice, either now or later, or no choice. Neither now nor ever.
Hey, that's clever.
Eat this or that, grow thin or fat. Never mind, I wouldn't do that, I'm fat enough now.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
Hooking up phrases and clauses that balance like out of the frying pan and into the fire. He cut loose the sandbags, but the balloon wouldn't go any higher. Let's go up to the mountains or down to the seas. You should always say thank you or at least say please.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
Hooking up words and phrases and clauses in complex sentences like in the mornings when I'm usually wide awake, I love to take a walk through the gardens and down by the lake where I often see a duck and a drake. And I wonder as I walk by just what they'd say if they could speak. Although I know that's an absurd thought.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
Hooking up cars and making them function.
Conjunction, junction, how's that function?
I like tying up words and phrases and clauses.
Conjunction, junction, watch that function.
I'm gonna get you there if you're very careful.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
I'm going to get you there if you're very careful.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
I'm going to get you there if you're very...
The interjection is an exclamatory word, that is, it makes an exclamation that expresses an emotion, though without thought. Okay, so it does not in the sense of I feel happy, you see, so that's a thought. But wow, you did this for me? You know, the wow is the interjection, the exclamation. Goodness, what a cute baby, you know, as the drawing indicates. Or when you hit your thumb with a hammer, if you are so inclined to be wielding hammers and building things, you say a lot of bad words that are probably interjections. They're exclamation points, but that we can't repeat here. But anyway, but that's what an interjection is. Now, in formal writing, you do not use interjections that much, if at all. Maybe in quoting somebody, you might, but it's useful for you to know what it is. So those are the parts of speech. We've gotten through them. Read more of the text to refresh your memory and do the exercises to help you learn. And other than that, we're done for this lesson, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much.